if I did my job right. Which side is the dupe? Which side is high-end? Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. We're doing a dupes video today, and I am going to be sharing with you guys some dupes that I found in my collection that literally look like high-end product. So if you guys can guess which side is the dupe side and which side is the luxury side, leave me an answer in the comments down below, and let's get into this video. I have some of the best dupes to show you guys today, and this wasn't like a let's go out and buy this product so that we can dupe it. It was product that I already had in my collection. I went through, I swatched everything, I was feeling textures, looking at what the quality of the product is, as well as like shade matches and how it performs, and I found a whole bunch of dupes, like a full face of dupes for you guys. So that's what we are doing today, a full face of dupes. Dupe number one, we have here the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter. Now, this is a sample size, and there are plenty of shades that Charlotte Tilbury has for the Flawless Filter. It's the Hollywood Flawless Filter. We're going to do the left side as like the high-end side, and we are going to do the right side as the like drugstore side. Now, the Hollywood Flawless Filter, editing Staci's going to leave the price for it because I don't remember the actual price for it. You can use this as a primer, or you can use it as a glowy like base to the face, and you can also wear it alone, which means that you can leave it like that, obviously blend it in first, but you can leave it on the skin as this like glowy filter, and you can buff it into the skin, and it is just supposed to provide this kind of natural but glowy lit from within look. So many brands have been trying to dupe this exact formula, like the way that it is coverage, the way that it has like this bright, like dewy filter to it, and Catrice, I think, is the closest match to it. This is the Soft Glam Filter Fluid Glow Booster from Catrice. This is like $10, and this honestly gives the same type of coverage as the Charlotte Tilbury. I think this is honestly the most spot-on dupe for the Hollywood Flawless Filter. And this one actually has better shade ranges than the Hollywood Flawless Filter. The Hollywood Flawless Filter that I have, it just tends to run a little bit too like golden on me. The shade that I do have is technically too fair, but you guys saw how like yellow it was on my skin, and this one is just a lot better with its color. This one I honestly feel like is more of a like neutral shade compared to the Hollywood Flawless Filter, which has a little bit of a yellow tinge to it. This one, it provides actually a very light coverage, just like the Hollywood Flawless Filter does, and it's super glowy on the skin, and it just looks like you have this lit from within glow, but it's like a million times better. And you can see like what side is the dupe side. Just disregard my nose because that's always like a spot right in the middle of my face, is always like a spot where you can never really tell what side is what because it just kind of mashes together, and I'm not going to draw a line down my face because that doesn't really work for me either. But the whole point of this dupes video is that you can't tell which side is which. You can't tell which formulation is which because they are so similar. The next dupe that I have is a dupe for the Natasha Denona Hy-glam Foundation. This came out in 2025. Is actually one of my favorite foundations. It is a serum foundation. It also has a hydrating and blurring quality to it. The shade that I have in this one, I have the shade N4. This is a serum consistency, very runny, so I like to apply this with a brush typically. So I am going to take this Morphe brush and we're going to apply it to the left side of my face. Now, this is a very serum-like, hydrating, blurring foundation, and it does come in a variety of shades, and it retails for like $52. So it is up there in price. And one thing that I really like about this foundation is that for mature skin, it doesn't settle into any fine lines. It doesn't settle into like my wrinkles or anything like that. And it does provide a really nice, like full coverage beat to it. And it's just an absolutely stunning foundation. Like It's so pretty. It looks so airbrushed, so flawless, but I'm here to tell you I found a dupe for it. I have a dupe for you. It is $10 and it is the Catrice True Skin Foundation. This one has actually been out for a while. The shade that I have is 007 Cool. This is a hydrating foundation with hyaluronic acid and it is long wearing. Now I'm here to tell you that the consistency, the way that it applies on the face is literally the same as the Natasha Denona formula. Now the actual product itself is not as serumy, but the way that it applies on the face, it is a full coverage foundation. It is very, very friendly on mature skin, so I have absolutely no problems with this foundation. It does have a like serum-like texture as well, and it is literally just this natural your skin but better feel, and it is so similar to the Natasha Denona. Like it's so similar to it. Like the actual consistency on my face is very, very similar, and you will see here that like you can't really tell the difference between each side of the foundation. Now I have been noticing that every single product here, they're all within my shade range. They are for a cool undertone, which is what I have, and for fair. One thing I did notice is that most of them, every single one of these things, when I swatched them out, they just have different undertones in them, even though that they're for a cool undertone. So while the shade match may not be exactly the same as what it's going to be for the Natasha Denona one, I mean, on my face, it looks really, really good. Like you can't tell the difference between the two sides because the True Skin from Catrice is just so familiar and it reminisces the Natasha Denona so much. But I was noticing that like even the undertones are a little bit different, but when you actually feel them in your fingers and you feel the True Skin versus the Natasha Denona, they literally feel the same on the face. They feel the same like when you swatch them out. The consistency is there when it like warms up to your skin and it really just emoliates into your skin, and it's so, so good. Like, can you guys tell the difference between each side of my face so far, between the high-end side and the drugstore side? And I'm gonna have my husband do a little I'm gonna have him determine if I look like, you know, the same person on each side of my face. I do have another Natasha Denona dupe, and I just realized that this other brand that I have in here, they've been kind of killing it lately. Like, they've been doing such an amazing job. We have the Hy-glam concealer from Natasha Denona. This is also a $30 concealer. If I remember right, the shade I have is N1, so it's a neutral undertone made for a fair skin. And I'm just concealing some of the blemishes and, you know, hyperpigmentation and all that beautiful stuff that I have. And then on the other side, I do have the True Skin from Catrice. This one is not anything new either. Like, this one has been around for a while, but you'll see, actually, the shades are very, very similar. Really, really similar, actually. I can't believe this. This does have hyaluronic acid in it. It is a high coverage concealer, and I have the shade 010 Cool Cashmere. But guys, look at the shades between the two. Look at the way that it is covering and the consistency between it. Like, absolutely crazy how similar these two products are. I actually have to pull out my other, I have a clean concealer brush. And we're going to use it on the Natasha Denona side. But you'll see this is just a creamy consistency, super, super hydrating, and super long wearing. The Natasha Denona concealer retails for a pretty penny of $30 now. It used to be like $27 and they upped their price. And so this one does retail for a pretty penny. But I mean, you'll see here, it really works well with like mature skin. And I have found that it is just a really great concealer for somebody who's in their 30s. I am 37, almost. I'm almost 37. And I do have like fine lines and wrinkles and mature skin. And that concealer was named my top 2025 concealer of the year. And honestly, though, going through my collection, this is also another one of my favorite concealers, and I know why, because it literally acts exactly the same as the Natasha Denona Hy-glam concealer, and it's the Catrice True Skin Concealer. Again, can you tell a difference on my face between the two sides? Because I cannot. I also found that this Essence Silky Blurring Hydrating Longwear Concealer is really, really similar as well. Like, the doe foot is really, really similar. This one just has a little bit more of a thinner consistency than the Natasha Denona, but this one retails for like $6. And I believe the Catrice one is like, I want to say 8 or 9, but this one I also found, it's brand new. It is a new release, and this one is really, really similar to it too. And I was like, okay, I have a bronzer formula and I have a couple of blush formulas. First, we're going to go in with the cream formula. I don't have a cream bronzer dupe at all, but I do have a blush dupe from Fenty. This is the Cheeks Out Freestyle Cream Blush in the 02 Petal Poppin'. So this is a cream, very emollient cream blush. Very pigmented. Once upon a time, this was like the blush. This is the it girl blush. Nobody could find a dupe for it. Everybody said Honest Beauty was kind of possibly a dupe for it, but I'm here to tell you, excuse you, this from Makeup Revolution is a blush trio. It comes with a cream, a powder, and then also a kind of like highlighter, blush lighter type of formulation. But this cream is so similar to the Fenty one. This is the Icon Blush in Authentic Peach, and the color, super, super similar. Not like so similar to Petal Poppin' from Fenty Beauty. And this retails for a nice penny of like $8, whereas the Fenty one, I believe, is upwards of $30. So let's apply the cream blush to each side of my face. So we're going to use this. It's just an angled brush. And we're going to apply the Fenty to the bougie side, because I mean, why not? And like I said, I don't have a cream bronzer dupe. I actually don't have a lot of like higher end cream bronzers in my collection. It's just, I typically find a cream bronzer in a drugstore and I fall in love with it. Like it's just so good. So this is the Fenty side. Very easy to build. Very, very like natural looking. It doesn't accentuate your pores or anything like that. And now we're going to go in with the cream side of the Makeup Revolution. And I truly feel like these are just very, very similar blushes in general. Now, I do realize that the blush brushes that I'm using are a little bit different in the actual shape. But if I can get this to blend out, you'll see it's very effortlessly to blend out, and it is just such a beautiful formula. Actually, I think this one I feel like is a little bit more pigmented than the Fenty one. Like, leave me a comment down below. Do you think that this one is a little bit more pigmented than the Fenty one? Because it sure as heck feels like it. But honestly, that is such a dupe for each other. Like, the colors are so similar, and I feel like the Makeup Revolution one is actually a little bit more pigmented, which is surprising to say because usually it's the opposite. Usually the higher end is usually a little bit more pigmented than the drugstore version. Not have a cream bronzer, so we're gonna go in with powder bronzer. We have here the NARS Laguna bronzer. This was like 1000% viral at a million points in my life. I swear this was like probably one of the most viral, especially during 2016. I feel like everybody was like obsessed with this bronzer, and NARS is known for great cheek products, great blush, great bronzer. I have a whole bunch of dupes for NARS today, so make sure you're staying tuned. And this bronzer is it's just got a little bit of a sheen to it. Super silky smooth, and it is a bronzer. It's not really a contour, and it has just like this beautiful like sheen to it. It is very easy to build up. It gives you this like very beautiful lit from within bronzy look. Like, that is really, really pretty. I'm not gonna lie, like I do really like that one. I use the FL5 from Singe Beauty. We're gonna use another FL5 from Singe Beauty on the other side of my face for the dupe bronzer, which is this one. It is new from Essence. It's the Soft Touch bronzer, butter bronzer. The shade here is Whipped Butter. buttercream. I'm sorry. It does have a little bit of like a coconutty scent to it, which I just don't like. But it has the same undertones as the Laguna bronzer. Not as pigmented. I understand that. Like, I know it's not as pigmented. This is like a $6.99 bronzer. $5.99, $6.99, something like that. But I was looking at the shades, looking at the way that it feels on the skin, looking at the way that it actually looks too. So the Laguna bronzer has this like sheen to it, and this one has that same like sheen to it where it's not like super over the top, but it's just enough that you can get this like glisten and glow. And honestly, when you look from side to side, I'm super blushy right now. I do feel like the NARS Laguna one is a little bit more pigmented, definitely. But once you build up this bronzer and you give it a little bit of a dip into the pan, it does look really, really similar between the two. So the NARS Laguna bronzer, I believe this is upwards of $25, $30 now. This one is $6. And they look really, really similar on the skin. Very, very bronzy. Very, very, just so subtle, so beautiful, so like the NARS one is definitely more pigmented. Don't get me wrong. It is so much more pigmented. But I definitely felt like this entire look, it's definitely looking the same. We have another NARS dupe, and this is the regular Orgasm blush. You know, like the one that looks like a blush lighter. It's got this like yellow, pink shift in it, and it's such a beautiful formula. Now, I was looking and I was like, okay, we're going to dip back into this trio from Makeup Revolution because the blush lighter literally looks like the NARS Orgasm blush. Literally. Like, actually, I think this one is a little bit more highlighty, but they look very, very similar. I swatched them out, and when you swatch them out, you can't really tell too much of a difference between the two. And I was also thinking like, okay, so you get this beautiful 3 trio blush, okay? You have the cream, you have the matte blush, and then you have this beautiful blush lighter. You could use the matte and then the blush lighter to create the same effect as what you get with the NARS Orgasm blush because they're so similar. And it's a 3-in-1, so why not try it? Why not do it? So I decided to give it a whirl. We're going to use the matte side first on the drugstore side, just doing a little bit, and then we're going to tap off, and then we're going to put the blush lighter on top. Super, super subtle because the NARS Orgasm blush is like that super subtle blush. There's no lie about it. We're going to take this side of my other blush brush and we're going to apply the Orgasm blush. Oh my, I got a little bit overboard there. Excuse me. But do my cheeks look the same? I look very blushy. I'm not gonna lie, so don't judge that. It's gonna get tamed down in a minute. But if you use the Authentic Peach, the matte, and the blush lighter, and you compare it to this blush right here, the Orgasm blush from NYX, can you tell a difference? I don't feel like you can. I'm going to go in with a setting powder. I don't have a setting powder dupe. This one's just the e.l.f. one. I'm trying to go through as many setting powders as I can right now. I just have a little too many of like different types. And this one is just a white one. So we're going to use it to set the under eyes and like also even out the eyelids. I am going to set my face down, and this is from Juvia's Place. It's the Ready Set Sealed, and this is like another one of those versions of the one size one. We have a couple from the drugstore, like the L'Oreal Infallible, and this one is from Juvia's. All right, we have this. This is the Becca. Technically, it's under Smashbox, but it's the Becca Champagne Pop. This was like super popular many, many years ago. I just have a sample size of it. But you'll see here, it has this like golden champagne undertone to it. super, super pretty. This is a powder formulation. I do recognize that, but I feel like I found a couple of dupes from the drugstore. The first one is from Profusion. This is the Woodstock highlight, so it's their collaboration with Charlie Brown. And this one is kind of like a bouncy, they call it the bouncy highlighter. If you can't find this one, it might be on the Profusion website, but it does have that same almost like goldish, champagne-ish shimmer to it. This was like $6 from Profusion, and I found it at Walmart at the time. If you order it online, sometimes it can be a little bit more. Then we have another one, and I just tried this out the other day, and I was like, this is Champagne Pop, but it is a bouncy highlighter. It is the Soft Touch Bouncy Glow from Essence, and this retails for like $6.99. But actually, this feels more like a powder. So this is in the shade Soft Glaze. And this one, they all three just look like the same highlighter on my face. And I was so surprised. Actually, I think the Woodstock one just kind of matches a little bit more. This one is a little bit light compared to Champagne Pop. I feel like Woodstock is more of a good shade match, but they both, like, Woodstock does match this one a little bit better. But if you can't find it, then I do recommend that you try finding the Soft Touch Bouncy Highlighter from Essence. Very, very similar. And, I mean, the Becca Champagne Pop one, you can buy a sample size of it, but it still retails for like $20 in a sample size, whereas the other version, the Woodstock one and the Essence one, they are like $6. $6. So I'm going to go in with Woodstock, and I'm going to be using, this is a brush specifically made for like bouncy textures, but this is from Singe Beauty and it's their highlight brush. Like it looks exactly the same on the face. If anything, I feel like the Woodstock one is a little bit more pigmented than the Champagne Pop one, which is very, very surprising. But they both look so good on the face. We have lips. I have a lot of lips to show you today. I feel like I kind of went overboard with lips. But there are a few like new discoveries that I have, and one of them is a dupe for the Anywhere Caffeine lip liner from Makeup Forever. Anywhere Caffeine is kind of like this orangey, it's like an orangey pink. That's the only way I can describe it. Like, it does look like my lips. I'm not gonna lie, it does look like my lips. I'm gonna show you guys a swatch of it on my right hand here. The worst swatch in the world, but you guys can see here. It's kind of like this like brownish mauve. It pulls a little bit orange on me, not gonna lie. But then I found this dupe from Singe Beauty, and this is the shade Brazen Birch, okay? And this looks like Anywhere Caffeine. Like, I feel like these are just so similar to each other. I do acknowledge that, no, they look really, really similar to each other. Let's see how they look on the lips, because we have Anywhere Caffeine on the side. Like, Brazen Birch is like this mauvey brownish, and it does pull a little bit orange on my lips. Not gonna lie. Like, it's definitely one of those lip liners that it pulls the same as Anywhere Caffeine. But can you tell a difference on my lips? The only thing that I am noticing is that the Singe Beauty one is actually a lot creamier, easier to apply. But I mean, like, you can't tell that these are two different lip liners. So Brazen Birch retails for $18. The Makeup Forever one, I believe, retails for at least $10 more. So that is an indie brand dupe for you. Another dupe that I have for the Anywhere Caffeine one is the NYX. This is a retractable lip liner. I love this one. I've actually used it before, but when I realized that Singe Beauty was also a dupe for Anywhere Caffeine, I was like, dude, like, that's awesome. So this one is the NYX retractable lip liner. And the shade of this one is Natural. It is the retractable lip liner. So we have NYX here. We have Anywhere Caffeine in the middle, and then we have Singe Beauty Brazen Birch. And these ones are all really, really similar to each other. So if you are looking for a Anywhere Caffeine dupe, you have an indie brand, you have a like drugstore brand, and these all match really, really well. Now talking about lips, we're actually going to go in with this. I have two, these are not the same color, okay, but the formulation is spot on, a dupe for one another. It's crazy how dupey these are of each other. Dupey. Maybe that's, you know, something that we should coin. This is dupey. So we have the Anastasia, Beverly Hills, Lip Velvet, and Pure Hollywood. And this is literally just a lip matte velvet formula. And this one is a mauve shade that I have. It's very moussey feeling. It feels really, really nice on the lips. I love this formula. I think it's absolutely stunning. But then we also have Makeup Revolution has the Air Blur Soft Matte Liquid Lip. And this one is also very, very similar in consistency. The shade that I have is Siren, so the shades aren't completely the same. But you'll see here, they have this like moussey texture. They have this like liquid whipped feel. The colors are a little bit different. So I'm just going to put on one, and we're going to put on the Makeup Revolution one because it's like in the middle. But you'll see it like blurs the lips. It like has this moussey texture, this moussey feel, and they both feel exactly the same on the lips. Like they're so comparable to each other. The Anastasia Beverly Hills one I think is like $30, and the Makeup Revolution one I want to say is like $8. Now I did find another dupe in my collection, and we have for the Anastasia Brow Wiz, I have a dupe for it. And the Anastasia Brow Wiz, this is in the shade Dark Brown, so it comes with a little spoolie on one side, which is like typical of the Brow Wiz. And then on the other side you have the brow pencil. Very, very thin. Like this is just so thin, and it is the shade Dark Brown. I just use this to gently fill in like any sparse areas on my brows. I don't use it to carve out anymore. There's no point in that. But I do like to fill in my brows, give them some life, give them some body, and then I'll go in with like a very like nice gel to run through it. But then we have here, this is $1 Billion Brows. Ironic because there's a lawsuit going on. It has the same exact spoolie. So this is actually a pretty quality spoolie. And then the shade that I have of this one is Taupe. But I actually noticed that this shade and the ABH shade are literally the same. And I will swatch it for you guys in a minute. But the way it applies, the way that it looks, the way that it feels, it applies really, really similarly to the ABH one. And the color is very, very similar. And actually the way that the strokes are with the brows for each side is really, really similar as well. So I'm going to swatch for you guys the ABH one. It has a very, very thin like pencil look, and then so does the $1 Billion Brows one, and they're just so similar between, like, that looks like the same freaking pencil. It looks the same. They have the same waxy texture. They're both a little bit stiff as you work it into the brows, but as you can see, like, my brows don't look like they're two different brows. We're going to move on to eyes now. We have the Natasha Denona Original Mini Eye Sculpt. This one is the 5-pan one. I love this one. I think it's just so travel friendly. It's so easy to use. It is very like not too cool toned, not too warm toned. It's very like neutral leaning, very in the middle. I have never had problems with this one. We're just going to use a couple shades out of here. I'm using this middle shade right here, which is like a medium toned brown. And we're just going to apply this to the crease with this really nice fluffy brush from Sigma. It's the Tapered Blending E35. And these shadows just blend out absolutely stunning. I mean, it's Natasha Denona. This little mini retails for about $25. 27. I think it's $27 now. They're $27 for these little minis. And it just gives you a taste of what Natasha Denona like feels like, how it performs. But I'm here to tell you, I actually have another brand that has a very similar color story to the mini Sculpt, to the larger Sculpt. It is technically 10 shades, but I think it retails for like $6. And I have the Profusion. This is the Smoky palette, and it retails for a nice, beautiful penny of about $6 to $10, depending on where you purchase it from. But you'll see it is a very neutral palette, and a lot of the shades from this palette match this palette. Like, so much so that you would not be able to tell. Like, this shade and this shade are definitely similar. This one is a little bit more warm toned, but on the lids, are you going to be able to tell the difference between the two? Probably, because this one's a little bit more warm toned. But if you're looking for a neutral eyeshadow palette that offers, you know, just some really nice blendable mattes, like look, that just blended up so nicely. I'm actually going to dip back into the Natasha Denona one just a little bit and make sure that everything looks the same on each side. Like, they both blended out really, really nicely. They look really beautiful on the eyes. And this one, they have so many different shades. They do both have a matte black. When I swatched out both of these, I actually found that the Profusion one had a way better pigmented matte black shade, which I found very interesting. Yes, these tend to lean a little bit more warm, whereas this one's a little bit more neutral. But I did find that it is not a deal breaker for me. So I'm going to take the skin colored shade and we're going to sweep this onto the brow bone. Going to find another floofy blending brush. We're going to take the Natasha Denona yellow shade, and this one we're going to sweep onto the brow bone as well. Like, they just perform really, really well. And, you know, for $6 compared to $27 or even the $69 price point of the larger eye sculpt, you can get the Profusion one. And it comes with some really nice, like, oily shades in here. The packaging, not so great. The packaging is not so great. But, I mean, the Natasha Denona one's not that great either. But, I mean, it's a little bit bulky, but it works really, really well. Now we're going to go in with a Moondust Shadow dupe. This is the Space Cowboy Moondust Shadow from Urban Decay. And I love this shade because it has this like really nice like brownish undertone to it. I think it's just so pretty. It's so sparkly and it just creates a very natural eye look. It is. It's beautiful. And you can't go wrong with the Space Cowboy one. I actually found this one on sale when I was shopping on Amazon. This was last year, a while ago. And every once in a while you can find it where it's on sale. And you could find this for, I think I paid like $15 for it, which is pretty good considering that the Space Cowboy shade retails for like $30. But then we have this shade. This is Ritz from ColourPop. It is a Super Shock Shadow, and this is quite literally the same shade. I actually like this one better because I feel like it is more sparkly, it has a better base to it, and because it is that Super Shock, it's like a cream to powder formula. But on my lids, like you can't tell a difference between the two of them. But I honestly feel like the ColourPop one applies better, it looks better, and it looks high-end compared to Space Cowboy. And I honestly wonder, like, can you guys tell which side is Space Cowboy? If you just look, can you tell which side is the dupe side and which side is not the dupe side? Like, I feel like I'm having to add more to the high-end side because the ColourPop side is so like pigmented and pretty. Now I'm going to go back into my eyeshadow palettes and I'm going to dip into the black shade from Natasha Denona, and we're just going to do a little bit of a liner. Like that. Just super, super subtle. It doesn't need to be anything super out of the ordinary. Like, it doesn't need to be anything like that. Kind of buffing it out. And then I'm going to use my Sigma Switch to switch out because it really doesn't have a lot of pigment on it. So it's going to work pretty decently well. And then we're going to use the black out of the Profusion palette. Like I said, when I swatched these out, I found that this one was just a little bit more pigmented and a little bit more black and opaque compared to the Natasha Denona side. So I wanted to see how they apply on the eye. And you can tell, like, that's crazy. This one is so much blacker than the Natasha Denona side. I'm gonna actually clean that off and build it up on the Natasha Denona side because I feel like that in and of itself, it's just not very pigmented. It looks nice. Like, it looks gorgeous. Can you tell what side of my face is what? We have the Makeup Revolution Wrap Lash Mega Length, like, this is a tubing mascara. I actually got this as a sample, so I do not feel bad opening it. Yeah, but this is a tubing mascara. I have heard it be compared to actually the tubing mascara from Tarte, which I like the tubing mascara from Tarte. I actually ran out of the, oh my gosh, it like spit on my face. So we're gonna have to fix that after we're done. But it like, I ran out of the tubing mascara from Tarte and I absolutely loved it. And I found a duo of a brown and a black Tarte tubing mascara for like $30 on TikTok shop. And because I was out of my tubing mascara, I decided to purchase the new more mascara because I love tubing mascara. Really easy to remove, really easy to wash off at the end of the night. It doesn't like flake in your eyes throughout the day. It's pretty much like water resistant up to a point. And I've found that the tubing mascara from Tarte is just really, it's a great mascara. I'm actually going to try removing. Yay. But I have found that the tubing mascara from Tarte is just, it's a great, easy tubing mascara. It adds volume, it adds length. I don't have any problems with it. Now, this is a brand new tube of the Makeup Revolution tubing mascara. And like I said, I got this as a sample, so I don't feel bad opening it. Like it was one of those gift with purchase things. Now I have the brown version of the Tarte tubing mascara. Love this version. It's like a really nice chocolatey brown, but I have the black version that I use all the time anyway. So this one is also brand new out of the box because I haven't used this one yet. And we're going to compare the two today because I have heard that the Wrap Lash from Makeup Revolution is really similar to the Tarte tubing mascara. And definitely check the comments down below so you guys can see my update on like how the mascaras specifically remove at the end of the night, because a true tubing mascara will come off in tubes. It'll be a little bit water resistant and it'll just look, it's so easy to remove at the end of the night, especially being a mom and I don't want things running in my face. So far this is what the lashes look like. I'm noticing that the Wrap Lash side is a little bit more clumpy than the Tarte like mascara side. So I'm going to try separating and building this up a little bit while the other side kind of like cools. But it is super black and it is lengthening the lashes pretty well on the Wrap Lash side for Makeup Revolution, but I'm finding that the Tarte side doesn't clump as much and that it really just like fans out my lashes so much better. But they look pretty similar. It's just this side's a little bit more clumpy than the high-end side. So we may have, yeah, I can definitely tell you that the Wrap Lash is more like thicker in consistency and it is not as thin as the Tarte mascara. But we'll see how it washes up at the end of the night. I'm not really liking how clumpy it is either. I don't think they're really a dupe for one another. It doesn't feel like it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But this is what we're looking like right now. Hair is done. Makeup is done. If I did my job right, you guys can't tell which side of my face is the dupe side and which side of my face is the luxury side. Thank you guys so much for staying tuned to the end of this video. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing before you go, and I hope I get to see you in my next one. Bye!